us to get to the heart of some of the things that you've been struggling with, okay? And I want to warn you right off the bat, this experience and these questions might make you a little bit uncomfortable, okay? And that's normal. They're intended to. The experiences that you went through to gain these memories, to gain these traumas, they were uncomfortable, right? Those moments. And I'm not trying to traumatize you by going through those kind of moments again, but maybe through this exposure therapy, exposing our brains back to memories and back to the deep thoughts, maybe we can get past them a little bit, okay? Alright, so I've got my notebook with me. I'm going to take some notes on some of the things that you say. Remember, this is therapy, so anything that you say will not leave this room. I will not tell your mother. I will not tell her mother. Right? I won't tell your friends. All of the feelings that you have from this can be expressed to others by you. Okay? Okay, perfect. So let's get started. Alright, so I've got some notes here. Now, I've got about 25 things. If you don't like the question I'm asking, I'll try to rephrase it to make it a little bit more appropriate for you, okay? But let's start with number one that I tend to ask people to really get to the root of this depressive feeling. And that is, what is your biggest insecurity? I know it's a heavy thing to ask. When I say insecurity, I mean something within yourself, something that is beyond your control. It is unsecurable. Therefore, it is an insecurity, right? I have been insecure about a lot of things. Some things I could fix, some things I could not. I was insecure about my teeth and my fingernails. Don't mind me this one. But I've been able to go to the dentist and go to the nail salon, right? But there's some things that we just cannot fix offhand, right? So what would you say is your biggest worry about yourself or about the situation you're in that you feel might drive people away? Okay. Have you always been insecure about that, or do you think this is more of a new development, and we'll get deeper into that specific issue later? Okay. I'm a lefty. I gotta go to the left-hand side, honey. Okay. Alright, I'll make a note of that. If we don't address that topic further in this session, we'll definitely do so in another session. One of the perks of doing it out of your home, right? The cat. Alright. I'm gonna go deep on this one. Just tell me a secret. Any secret. What's a secret maybe that you have not told anyone? Remember, it doesn't leave this room, but something that is significant enough that whether you noticed it or not, you just haven't told anybody about it. Sometimes it's not an intentional hiding, right? You just don't nobody really knows. Nobody asked, because nobody knew they should ask about that topic, right? Oh. So somebody knows about that, but not the main people in your life, right? Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Because I'm trying to see the different virtues that might be leading to the feelings that you're having. Whether it's insecurities, whether it's guilt. Third question, have you ever felt heartbroken, like by someone else? And times when people in our life betray us, and it's not our love interest, right? Parents go through breakups, or friends leave, you know? And abandonment is a horrible thing to go through. It can leave you heartbroken, and it doesn't have to be your boyfriend or girlfriend, right? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. And, like, how did that leave you feeling? Okay. Obviously, heartbroken is in the question, but did you notice any signs of depressive behavior at that time? Did you weep a lot? Did you feel sick to your stomach? Did you eat a lot or a little? Did you want to sleep a lot more? Or did you experience insomnia? Those kind of symptoms of too much or too little type thing. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, let's get into another virtue topic. What would you say is your biggest fear? Oh, that's a simple one. I mean, I suppose it's a bit more complicated than that, but, just hearing it offhand, I'm like, oh, okay. Do you think that it is an irrational one, or do you have, like, experience with this? Okay. Oh. So it's always been that way? It was like, some people, they get a childhood trauma. They have a moment where it's like, that's when they were always going to fear that thing. Sometimes, it's a concept. Sometimes it's not a spider. Sometimes it's a fear of abandonment, right? It can be anything. Okay, interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Alright. Let's see if we can get through all the questions. We might have to split some up. We'll get to at least 10 today, okay, honey? So, what is your biggest regret? Now, this can go, does it go along with the secret that you told me earlier with question 2? Sort of in the same, okay. Sorry, I write in cursive. My hand never leaves the page, it feels like. And so, because it's a regret, I'm going to assume that should you have mythically, right, we like to speak in realities here, but imagine hypothetically, mythically, you could go back and change that. Would you change that scenario? Would you change your actions in that scenario? Or your solutions, maybe? Okay. That makes sense. Now, I want to ask the adverse. So, when I talked earlier about heartbreak, how someone could abandon you or break your heart, let's be introspective for a second. Have you ever betrayed someone's trust? And if so, what occurred? Because I think we've all, broken someone's trust, even in a small way, You tell your mom that you're going to the bathroom in the groceries, in the Walmart, but you really just wanted to go see the toys section. She can't find you. She's looking around, she looks at the bathroom, she can't find you. All of a sudden she thinks they might be in the toy section. This has never happened to me, I'm just giving an example. She goes and finds you. You've broken her trust. She can't trust that you're gonna go where you say you're gonna go because you lied without reasoning, right? It's a very elaborate example. Like I said, never been me. I was very honest about the toy aisle. But you know what I mean? It can be you've cheated on somebody, or it can just be you lied to them, right? Okay. It's a very specific one. I appreciate you sharing that, because we need to work down from the less severe to the more severe things, right? I mean, you told me your biggest secret in life, but sometimes moments like that are not going to be the biggest moments, right? Now, Now this one. What is the most painful thing anyone has ever said to you? And I think this will help me understand you a lot better, because there's some things that people can say to you, and it does depend on the context of the situation and also who it's being said by. But I want to know what it was that really hurt you, because I want to break that down in a later session. If you would like an example, I'm not going to give the specifics because, this isn't my session. But for instance, mine would be when a person was very dismissive of me when I was having a hard time. And it made them seem cold. And if I were to look at the root of that, I would find that, I don't like to be told that I'm not important or that I'm not a priority, right? And I seek self-importance and I seek importance from other people. I want to feel like a priority. I want to feel important, right? So things like that can tell you a lot about a person. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry you had to hear that. And from them of all people. I'm sorry. I understand why that would be altering in that moment, like a game changer. You think you know this person and then they say that to you, so understandable. Okay. Number 8. This is a very vague one, and it's a very large encapsulating one, and if you don't really feel comfortable, I'll change up the question, okay? Overall, do you feel loved by your family? The people around you, your family / your friends. And I know that's a heavy one. I know. I apologize. It's a heavy thing. But overall, do you feel that love from others? Okay. Okay. Yeah. And do you feel like, and I'm not trying to put any pressure or blame on you, I swear, do you feel it is a two-way street between you and your family or your friends? Do you feel this? You are getting what you are giving. Do you feel that reciprocation of emotion or effort? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, that makes sense to me. It's a heavy topic, and the feeling of love can be communicated in so many different ways by so many different people, and everybody expresses love differently, and the love languages and all that, but it is a big question to just ask, does your family love you, right? And some people that's an easy no, and some people that's an easy yes, and sometimes it's complicated, and it depends on each person, right? Okay. Now for more of your motivations and your goals. Okay, some more positive. So what is something you desperately want right now that you don't have? It can be monetary, yes, value. No, that's a very understandable thing to want. And in a future session, we'll definitely talk about the goals to getting there. Okay? Because remember, in therapy, we like to talk about steps in behavior and creating attainable goals in order to reach that end mark. So we'll definitely discuss that. We won't just leave it there, okay? Okay. To get more specific into the family dynamic, because I wanted to take a step back from that for a second. It seemed like it was a little troubling to talk about, but in general, what would you say is your relationship with your parents or guardians? I just want the surface level of the relationship there. Okay. And how long ago was that? Oh, it's complicated, I know. Okay. No, just talk. It's fine. And has the, as I already asked you, if your family loves you, but has the vibe, has the warmth in the room been warm, cool, cold? Say you go to a family event, Thanksgiving, or whatever you celebrate. What does the air feel like? What temperature? Is it warm? Is it hot? Is it cool? Is it cold? Right? Okay. That makes sense, yeah. Okay. Let's see. I'll just do a couple more questions, okay? Just a couple more before we get going. I want you to give me a look into your childhood, because the parents, it builds right into the childhood aspect, right? So with your parents and your childhood, I want you to give me one instance of a childhood trauma. So a moment in your childhood where you felt it was very traumatic, it was upsetting, and it has stuck with you, and people call you crazy maybe, but you remember that, and it still is in the back of your head, and sometimes you pull it out randomly in your head, and it just remembers this. And yes, it can be a TV show that scared you for no reason, irrationally. Okay. Okay. Just writing it on my notes that I slightly changed their question. Okay. I could see as a growing mind how that would be very traumatic and how that would stick with you. To us adults, it seems a very common lesson, but when you're a child and you first learn these sort of scary things, it's very traumatic, and it's just the event that showed you that, Alright. Random question, but still deeply personal. Do you have any habits, bad habits, or addictions that you would like to get off the table while we're here? Okay. Oh. I mean, I'm here for a singular purpose, and I don't judge. It just helps me understand, Okay. And we'll definitely dive more into the addictive personality traits as we go along in our sessions. But I appreciate you sharing that with me. I know some people, they get addicted to major things. Some people, they bite their nails. Some people, addictions or habits can be little or big, right? And but they can still be over-consuming. Now, I'm just gonna sit my stuff down for a second and just speak one-on-one to you. Before we wrap up this session, this is a deeply personal question, and it's a very overarching question, but there's no catch. You are allowed to think. You can come in here and feel like the most terrible person in the world, and we can help with that. Or you can come in here knowing your worth, but still struggling with certain aspects of your life. There is no shame in any of those answers, and there is no shame in a neutral zone. In knowing that there are nuances between your good side and your bad side. And there are some people that believe there is no good or bad. There are some people that believe we were born good and we do bad things sometimes. And there are some people that think the adverse. So, but it's good to get a sense of you. So, I'm not going to write any notes on that one. I'll just keep it in here. But anyway, thank you so much for coming in today and for answering my questions. I apologize if they were quite personal, but I do feel like I understand you better, and I feel like we have a good jumping off point for our future sessions. So I'd like to thank you for coming in today. Of course. If you need anything, I'll give you my office number, actually. Here. Okay. Well, there you go. If you need me and there's an emergency happening, obviously if it's an emergency, call 911 as always. But if you feel like it's just a lingering feeling or a question that you need answered, I mean, I'm not necessarily available super late at night, but if I'm awake and I'm available, you can definitely message me and I'll see what I can do for you. And we'll get another session set up so we can really address that topic, okay? But thank you so much for coming in. I enjoyed getting to know you, and I hope you choose to continue this journey with me. So, thank you so much.